PR order opens, ARMY panics. Is Jungkook the hidden KY behind BTS's 2026 comeback strategy? And why does this date feel too early to be a coincidence? What if the most important clue about BTS's long-awaited comeback in 2026 isn't hidden in a teaser image, a cryptic lyric, or a mysterious logo, but in a date that arrived far sooner than anyone expected? What if the moment Bigot Music announced the pre-order schedule, the real story had already begun unfolding in front of ARMY's eyes? And what if Jungkook, once again, is standing at the very center of it all, not loudly, not officially, but strategically, because when the words "pre-order opens January 16th, 2026" dropped into the global timeline, ARMY didn't just celebrate. They froze. They refreshed. They reread the statement. And then, almost instantly, the theories began to spread like wildfire across continents, languages, and time zones. Why so early? Why now? Why does this feel calculated? And why does Jungkook's name keep appearing at the center of every serious theory? On January 5th, 2026, Seoul time, Bigot Music confirmed what fans around the world had been waiting for. BTS is officially returning with their 5th studio album, scheduled for release on Friday, March 20th, 2026 at 1300 hours Korea Standard Time. Alongside the album announcement came confirmation of a world tour and a pre-order date set for Friday, January 16th, 2026 at 11 o'clock Korea Standard Time. On the surface, it was a straightforward announcement. But for ARMY, nothing about this felt ordinary. This album is not just another release. It is the first full group album in 3 years and 9 months. Nearly 4 years of waiting, speculation, patience, and emotional endurance condensed into a single confirmation. The statement described the album as a symbolic return of BTS as a complete group, a marker of a new direction, and a deeply personal body of work shaped directly by the members themselves. 14 tracks, each said to carry honest stories, personal colors, emotional weight, and the struggles experienced throughout their journey. A thank you letter in musical form, addressed directly to ARMY, but even as fans absorbed the emotional gravity of that message, one detail refused to stay quiet. The pre-order date, January 16th, announced unusually early, positioned unusually far ahead of the release, and placed at a moment in the global music calendar that raised eyebrows among industry watchers and fans alike. Why would Bigot move so fast? Why open pre-orders more than 2 months before release? And why does this timeline align so perfectly with global market cycles, Western chart tracking periods, and international promotional strategies that BTS has mastered before? This is where Jungkook's name enters the conversation, not as an official spokesperson, not through a confirmed teaser, but through logic, history, and pattern recognition that ARMY knows all too well. Jungkook is not just the youngest member of BTS. He is, statistically and historically, one of the group's most powerful global entry points. His solo releases, his streaming dominance, his chart performance in Western markets, and his cross-demographic appeal have long positioned him as a bridge between BTS and the broader global audience, particularly in the United States and Europe. When BTS wants to open a door, Jungkook is often the one standing closest to the handle. When fans saw the pre-order date arrive this early, many immediately began asking question that refuses to fade. Is Jungkook the key to locking in the Western market from day one of the BTS 2026 comeback? The theory goes deeper than simple favoritism or spotlight distribution. It's about strategy. Opening pre-orders early allows for sustained hype, extended visibility, and long-term chart preparation. It allows physical album sales to stack before release, amplifying first-week numbers. And if the first teaser, whether visual, musical, or symbolic, centers around Jungkook, the impact could be immediate and global. ARMY didn't invent this theory out of thin air. BTS has done this before, albeit in subtler ways. In past eras, certain members have served as the emotional or visual entry point for a comeback narrative. Jungkook, with his vocal versatility, mainstream appeal, and undeniable star power, fits perfectly into a strategy designed to lock international attention before anyone else can react. On platforms like X, formerly Twitter, reactions exploded within minutes of the announcement. Fan accounts such as @charts_k reported hundreds of thousands of views, with likes and reposts multiplying at a pace that mirrored comeback seasons of BTS's peak years. Comments ranged from euphoric disbelief to strategic analysis. "We're really back," one fan wrote. "World tour announcement on January 14th, pre-order on January 16th. This is massive." Another added, 14 tracks? This isn't just a comeback, this is a statement." But beneath the celebration, there was tension, panic even, not the negative kind, but the overwhelming realization that BTS is returning at full force and that this comeback might redefine not only their sound, but their position in the global industry once again. Why panic? Because early pre-orders mean early commitment. It means ARMY has to prepare financially, emotionally, logistically. It means global distributors, retailers, and chart systems are already aligning. It means the comeback clock is ticking faster than expected. And when things move this fast in the BTS universe, nothing is accidental. The official statement from Bigot Music emphasized that the members were deeply involved in the creation of the album. Their thoughts, emotions, personal journeys, and struggles are embedded in the music. This isn't a manufactured return. It's a deliberate, artist-driven reintroduction of BTS as a group that has lived, changed, and endured. The album is described as a sincere expression of gratitude to ARMY, a thank you for waiting, believing, and staying. That emotional framing matters. Because if the album is about honesty, vulnerability, and reconnection, then the promotional strategy must reflect that authenticity. And Jungkook, often described as emotionally transparent, musically adaptable, and globally resonant, becomes a natural focal point, not to overshadow the others, but to open the conversation. Fans speculate that the first teaser might feature Jungkook not in a flashy, overproduced way, but in a symbolic one. A voice before a face, a lyric before a melody, a silhouette before a reveal. Something that signals, we're back, and this is just the beginning. The announcement of the world tour added another layer to the intrigue. Scheduled details will be released on January 14th, 2026 at midnight KST, just 2 days before pre-orders open. That sequencing alone feels intentional. Tour announcement first, pre-order second, album release third. It's a narrative arc, not a random schedule, and within that arc, Jungkook's potential role becomes even more significant. If the tour is global, if the album is deeply personal, and if the market focus includes the West from day one, then the member most closely associated with global crossover success becomes an obvious strategic anchor. Still, nothing has been confirmed, and that silence is part of the tension. Bigot has not named a center. There is no official statement positioning Jungkook above the others. BTS has always emphasized unity, balance, and collective identity. But strategy does not negate unity. It supports it. ARMY understands this better than anyone. This is why the panic feels electric rather than fearful. It's the panic of anticipation. The kind that makes fans refresh timelines at 3 a.m., analyze timestamps, compare past comeback schedules, and connects that casual observers never notice. The album's 14 tracks are already fueling speculation. 14 is not a random number. It suggests a full narrative arc, possibly divided into emotional phases. Beginning, conflict, reflection, resolution. And if Jungkook appears early in that arc, musically or visually, it could set the emotional tone for everything that follows. The phrase, locking the Western market, keeps appearing in fan discussions, not as a criticism, but as recognition of BTS's understanding of the global industry. BTS does not chase trends blindly. They read the room. They anticipate movements. They enter conversations before others realize they've started. Opening pre-orders on January 16th places BTS firmly within the first quarter of the year, a period often associated with strategic positioning rather than reactive releases. It allows momentum to build slowly, deliberately, irresistibly. And with Jungkook potentially acting as the initial spark, the fire could spread faster than ever. Bigot Music's closing message asked for continued love and support as BTS begins this new chapter. A simple request, but one that carries immense weight. Because this isn't just a comeback. It's a reunion, a redefinition, a reminder. The success of previous albums like Map of the Soul, Seven, and Proof established BTS not only as chart toppers, but as cultural forces. This fifth album arrives with the pressure of legacy and the freedom of evolution. It arrives in a world that has changed, and in a group that has changed with it. So the question remains, hanging in the air like the first note before a song begins. Is Jungkook the key that unlocks this era? Is the early pre-order date a signal of a larger, more calculated global strategy? Or is this simply the natural result of a group that knows exactly who they are and how to return on their own terms? ARMY will keep watching, keep guessing, keep feeling everything at once, because one thing is already certain: BTS is not just coming back. They are stepping forward. And the moment the pre-order button goes live on January 16th, the world will feel it. And when the first teaser finally drops, when the first voice breaks the silence, the only question left might be the one ARMY has been asking since the beginning. Were we already warned? And did Jungkook hold the key all along? And yet, even as the official information feels complete on paper, the silence surrounding the finer details only deepens the sense that something much bigger is being prepared behind the scenes. In the BTS universe, silence has never meant emptiness. Silence is where signals hide, where intention gathers strength, where timing becomes everything. And right now, the silence between January 5th and January 16th feels louder than any teaser could. Why announce the pre-order date so clearly, so confidently, and so early, while withholding everything else? This is the question dominating fan conversations across time zones. Because when bigot music wants the world to focus on something, they usually do it with precision. They don't rush announcements without purpose. They don't open pre-orders early unless they are certain the demand will not only meet expectations, but overwhelm them. And that certainty has a source. Many ARMY believe that the confidence behind this early pre-order move lies in the internal data bigot already holds. Streaming projections, global search trends, historical performance.
Solo era metrics.
And in almost every one of those categories over the past few years, Jungkook's name appears repeatedly at the top. This is not about favoritism. This is about momentum. During the group's hiatus period, Jungkook's global visibility did not fade, it expanded. His voice crossed genres, his image crossed demographics, and his music crossed borders that even established Western artists struggle to penetrate. From streaming platforms to radio airplay, from viral moments to mainstream recognition, Jungkook became a familiar name even to listeners who did not actively follow K-pop. So when ARMY asks why this pre-order date feels different, why it feels aggressive, why it feels global first, the answer many arrive at is simple and unsettling in its clarity. BTS already knows they have the key, and they know exactly when to use it. What makes this theory even more compelling is the emotional framing of the album itself. The official statement emphasizes honesty, struggle, personal color, and gratitude.
These are not abstract themes.
They are lived experiences. And among the members, Jungkook has often been perceived as someone whose emotional growth has unfolded publicly, almost in real time, from debut to global superstardom. If this album is about reflection after absence, about returning changed but united, then the voice that introduces that story matters. The face that greets the world again matters. The first emotional connection matters. ARMY knows this because BTS has taught them how to read between the lines. Consider the sequencing again. January 14th, 2026, the world tour details are revealed. January 16th, pre-orders open. March 20th, the album drops. This is not just a schedule. It's a funnel, a slow narrowing of attention, guiding fans and the general public from curiosity to commitment to impact. And somewhere within that funnel, many believe, lies a Jungkook-centered ignition point, not an announcement that says Jungkook is the center, but a moment that makes it obvious, without words. A teaser that trends globally within minutes. A vocal line that becomes instantly recognizable. A visual that dominates timelines before the group even fully appears. This is why ARMY's reaction has been described as panic, not because of fear, but because of inevitability. Because once BTS activates this machine, there is no pause button. There is no way to consume it slowly.